What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Naia Lax updates. Tucker, do we have any news to cover from the past couple of days? I don't know, maybe something small,
I
maybe
mean,
big.
I believe you're referring to the new Clark University head coaching announcement. Um, we
That would
had
be the one.
we had hinted at this one for a while, and full disclosure, obviously, I knew about this, long prior to the official announcement, but protocol and following things and filling out forms and background checks and all that kind of fun stuff, obviously pushed our announcement a little bit. But we were teasing at this one for a while. It's been an exciting process. Kind of, I can take you guys through a little bit. Um, I'm 22 years old. I never thought I'd be in a position to be a collegiate head coach directly after finishing my collegiate career. I know there's a lot of questions about whether I'd be coming back for a fifth year since I had another year eligibility and all that kind of stuff in the air. And to be honest with you, I went through this whole interview process and the whole formal process of becoming a head coach here at Clark and in the NAI. And it was, I want to say, a 3-week process at the least. It took a while. So basically finished my last collegiate game, immediately shifted focus to preparing for interviews, preparing for coaching questions, totally changed my mindset right away. And it was great. It was good to kind of pivot really quickly because it allowed a lot of self-reflection and everything, which was really, really wonderful. But yeah, long process, fun process, definitely an educational process with how formal it is, I guess I would say as well. But it's no, it's a huge blessing. I started playing lacrosse in 5th grade, and that wasn't all that many years ago when you think about it in the long run. Which makes me really that much more excited. I think it's easy for people to say, oh, like I'll be, a really, really young head coach, which I will be a really young head coach, but you guys know me. I'm enthusiastic. I love the game, and I'm really just eager to dive into NAI lacrosse in a whole different way than I was before. This will not be affecting my podcast appearances at all. We're going to keep going ahead with this. If anything, this just allows to grow the game more on the NAI side and the lacrosse side. But more than anything, guys, just beyond thankful and excited for this opportunity to start something new, a new journey in a place that I call home and I love. And so Iowa is now my permanent home, which it feels really strange to say that, but I'm more than excited. I started moving into my new house today, so things are happening very quickly. My first official day on the job is May 27th, and I'll be hitting the recruiting trail like 3 days after my first official day. So it's happening fast, but I love it that way. And yeah, John and I have had some fun kind of teasing at this news and getting ready to tell you guys. And I know a lot of other coaches and people within the conference, your words of support, your words of advice, and those of you outside the conference as well, who have reached out and encouraged me on this and been, really an amazing support system in this entire process. Huge thank you to all you guys. It wouldn't have been as easy as a process without you. Those simple words of support or advice, or someone that you can go to, that means the world. And it shows more than anything. It shows the NAI lacrosse community that we have here. Just the messages I received from people, fans and people involved and everything. It's been an absolutely phenomenal 3 weeks. I think one of my friends referred to it the other day as, man, you got all the luck in the area right now, and it does feel that way. It's pretty remarkable. I'm in a bit of euphoria, and I graduate in now 13 days. So I graduate in 13 days, and I go to Alaska for 10 days, and then I am right into coaching. So man, we're turning it around, where we're having some fun here in the whole process. And more than anything, we're growing the NAI lacrosse brand, as we are always doing, I should say. So thank you to all you out there for the support. I am more than excited. I am eager to get this started. So that's where we're at. Follow along with the Clark University lacrosse build and see where we go with things. And as always, guys, I'll keep bringing you all the hot takes and the content and everything. I started a new coaching Twitter, so I'll drop that handle down there below. I'll be active on that starting the first day on the job. So 2 Twitters means more content, and we know content is king. So excited for that. Kind of a big part of this push. I'll be honest with you guys, a little teaser. is I really want to bring high quality content into NAI lacrosse as a branding and recruiting tool. So look forward to some of that stuff because you guys, you know, I love media and content for sure.
Congrats, buddy. You deserve
Thank
it.
you. Thank you, brother. Thank you.
And side note, people were gunning for your job on here, man. I got so many messages when that announcement came out, like, hey man, I know Tucker's on to bigger and better things. What does that mean for here? I'm like, we're keeping Tucker, guys. Tucker's going nowhere.
I'm staying, man. I think, you know, to kind of full disclosure for you guys, like obviously, like John and I talk a lot outside of the podcast, but the constant conversation this entire 5 or 6 months, whatever this has been just total happiness with how this podcast has gone, with how the responses you guys have given us. I mean, we're getting like hot takes after the podcast is released, like 10 minutes later. I'll upload it, I'll refresh it, and there's 30 plays on it right afterwards. So it's really cool to see like the instant reaction and how much you guys have done. So I mean, this podcast only gets better from here, man. Like now we just got to get some bells and whistles and all this cool stuff. But it's awesome. And so, yeah, here we go. We're just getting better from here.
Yes, sir. All right. So I guess where we left off last time would be the start of the WHAC tournament. So I guess we'll start with the quarterfinals, obviously. And we had Lawrence Tech 7, Madonna 6. A little bit, not really the result surprising, but like just the scores from the quarterfinals in general were a little lower than I would have expected. What'd you think from that one?
You know, that was a score that was lower than I had expected. I know we had talked about this probably being kind of a higher scoring game, more of kind of a shootout in a way. I don't think it's bad that it was low scoring. It does show how contested these two teams were, and a lot of the WHAC was in this WHAC tournament. It was kind of the final element we were waiting on for the Nationals picture. I think we had picked Madonna, if I'm correctly, in this game, but we knew it was going to be close. You know, Lawrence Tech had a lot to prove in this one, I think, in a lot of ways, and Madonna is, I don't know if I would say they're in a rebuild, but they're kind of moving back up in a lot of ways compared to past years. So I'm happy with the score of this game, I would say. And I say this a lot about a lot of teams, and you guys know this, but these are two teams that I'm really excited to watch down the road. You know, both teams have had a lot of success, and I think both teams are very well supported by their athletic departments, which is a big element we talk about within NAI lacrosse. So excited to see where Lawrence Tech and Madonna go. Obviously, from this game, Lawrence Tech did advance to the WHAC semifinals. We'll talk about that in a minute. Any hot takes from the Lawrence Tech Madonna game, John?
Not too many hot takes. I'll just say the main thing was Lawrence Tech got up 7-2, and then Madonna kind of climbed their way back into that one. So that was a little bit unexpected. I thought it would have been kind of closer throughout the game instead of one team rallying.
What kind of areas do you think Madonna needs to add to or replace in with guys graduating with, you know, they have quite a few graduating seniors, if I'm correct, but what do you think needs to be added to the Madonna program where it is right now to kind of step up to, you know, a 1 or 2 position in the WHAC?
Yeah, so I think this is twofold. First, what they're missing this year, what I would say would be their midfield unit was not nearly as strong as their attack, especially with Rush converting from midfield to attack. I'd say the thing that makes that a little bit more concerning is their entire starting attack line, which was the strength of the team graduates. And the 3 players on that were the 3 players who are all time in leading points. I think all 3 over 150 career points. So it's looking like it could potentially be a complete rebuild at attack, and then maybe 1 or 2 middies as well. So I think they'll still be very strong in net and on defense, but the offense is going to have to find some young pieces.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. I'm curious to see, you know, I look at where we're at with the offseason, where we're at with, you know, public commitments, where we know stuff is going on. I'm curious to see if any teams utilize JUCO transfers in the offseason, or especially, you know, after the fall semester, if we see anybody pick up junior college players. I feel like that's something that's not as commonly utilized in the NAI. You know, obviously there's junior colleges all over the place that have lacrosse that people don't even think about. And I think a lot of it is lack of NAI teams, you know, connecting or putting a face out there with these players. So I'm really curious to see what the JUCO impact is like in this coming season. I've seen a lot more junior college players putting themselves out there on Twitter, on Instagram. And I have seen some NAI plugs connecting in there as well. So I'm really curious to see if that happens, and if Madonna, being in a good lacrosse area, can bring any kids kind of back home from junior colleges or something like that. But that's one team that I kind of have an idea of maybe that might happen, or they would be in a good position to have that happen, I would say.
Yeah, that's definitely something to keep an eye on.
Moving on to Lords and Siena Heights in the second first round game there of those two right there. Lords lost that game 7-3 against Siena Heights. What did you think about this one? I know it was kind of a little bit all over the place. Lords really wanted to be in this game, and this score I think does still say that they wanted to be in this game in a lot of ways. But what was your takeaway from that?
Yeah, I mean, there just wasn't a whole lot of offense in this one, as the score obviously shows, but even the shots, I think both teams are in the low 30s in terms of shots. Both defenses kind of packed it in a little bit, and it was just so low scoring that I don't think either team wanted to kind of take bad shots or force anything. Couldn't really afford the turnovers in this one. What did you think about it?
Yeah, about the same here. I think looking at this game going into it, I think I expected it to be a little bit of a grudge match in a lot of ways. These are two teams that are, I would say I'd phrase it as kind of fighting for reputation. They are looking for some national recognition. Both teams again have had success. They're not newcomers to success by any means. They're long running programs as well, both with pretty decent sized rosters. I felt like this would kind of be a grudge match here. I will tell you right now, I don't think this will be the last we see of Lords in the WHAC tournament. I don't think this is the last we'll see of Lords in a contention for a national tournament type situation. And I think definitely not for Siena Heights. The year that they've put together has been phenomenal, especially the second half. So I think both of these teams are going to return strong. We look at teams that are going to return a lot of guys and return in a good position. I think both of these teams are returning in a very good position.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. Sky should be the limit for both those programs. Moving on to the semifinals, we had Siena Heights 9, Aquinas 8. And this one caught me off guard a little bit, I'd say, because this is one of those ones that we just saw a couple days prior. And it seemed like Aquinas handled them, I don't want to say pretty easily, but the attack in particular from Aquinas played a lot better in the first matchup than they did in this one. What did you see in this one?
Well said. Well said. I agree with you. I don't remember what our picks were on this one. I know we've been loving what's going on with Siena Heights, but we know that Aquinas was just on an absolute tear. So I don't know that I saw anything necessarily more than two really good teams knowing that they had to win this game to move on. This game, in my mind, had a lot of meaning. For Siena Heights to pull an upset like this was just, that's huge for the program. And I would say even beyond huge, especially considering these are two teams that compete against each other for recruiting rights. So that's a big thing going into the offseason, I would say, especially as well. But man, if I could have picked like an alternate WHAC finals, I would have wanted to see Aquinas and Siena Heights. Like those are two programs that have just played their hearts out all year, both in kind of positions where we didn't really know what to expect, but they put on a show. So that's two really good lacrosse teams playing against each other in an in-state rivalry game.
Yeah, and as we'll talk about a little bit later, this one had some pretty drastic ramifications as far as the national tournament went, specifically seeding wise. A couple stats from this one. Haggart with 3 goals, 1 assist, but Siena Heights did a pretty good job slowing down his co-attackman, his counterparts, Jardis and Sweet, and Vinny Jean with 25 plus saves. So big day for him as expected.
That's right. And what we had heard was Vinny got snubbed from that all conference first team position. I'm a little confused on that. Love what Vinny's doing out there. A lot of saves.
The numbers say he should have got it.
A lot of saves. I'm just gonna say that right there. So special place in our heart, man. You played one heck of a season there, and you became a fan favorite. We can appreciate that. We can definitely appreciate that. So special shout out there, kind of before moving on to the next game there. The second semifinal, Lawrence Tech and Indiana Tech, the battle of the techs. A lot of tech going on there. What did you think from this one? Obviously, Indiana Tech came away with a 19-4 win. Was this a situation where like you felt like Lawrence Tech shouldn't have been in that spot? Was it just something where Indiana Tech was just, a much greater team? What did that look like to you?
Um, I got to be honest, this was about what I expected. I mean, the goal margin was a little bit more, but just going back to the regular season meeting, it just seemed like it was Indiana Tech's game to lose a little bit. Just not the greatest matchup in the world for the Lawrence Tech defense. The biggest takeaway was the third quarter kind of solidified things. I mean, I think Indiana Tech was already up by 7 or 8, but they had a 7-0 third quarter. So that kind of slammed the door shut.
Yeah, agreed there. Definitely agreed. Moving on to the WHAC tournament.
Hey, quick side note. It says we have 9 minutes left in the meeting. I don't know if you're seeing that.
Oh yeah, I see it. We're gonna have to. I guess this is new. That hasn't been an issue before. So we'll when it hits 1 minute, I'll pause it and start a new meeting.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Moving on to the WHAC tournament championship game, Siena Heights and Indiana Tech. Indiana Tech takes this game to solidify, I guess, a national spot, if you want to say it. Indiana Tech, though, 11-1 over Siena Heights. Was this what you expected after seeing a Siena Heights Aquinas upset? This was not what I expected. I think this just proves that Indiana Tech is a far stronger team than I think people even kind of thought going into the tournament here.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that one. I thought it would be a very close game with potential for Siena Heights to even win. I mean, we saw it the last meeting in the regular season. Siena Heights got the big lead and Indiana Tech had to rally to come back. So I thought we may see something similar where Siena Heights getting out to a fast start and then seeing what would happen from there. But they just never really got started. I'm not really sure why particularly. The offense just couldn't get it going. Vinny Jean with another outstanding performance, 28 saves. So
that's unreal. That's pretty unreal, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. That's pretty awesome. What did you think? We talked a little bit pre-show about this and kind of the score deficit in its positioning and meaning for national tournament qualification. If this was a between 2 and 5 goal game, would people have looked differently on Siena Heights when voting for the national positions than the score was in this game, what it actually turned out to be?
Yeah, I can't say for certain that it would have got them in, but I could say fairly confidently. I believe they finished 9th. They're just one spot out. I mean, if they win, they obviously make it as automatic qualifier. I think if it's a 2-goal game, they honestly make it as well. As a 5-goal game, I think they still would have had a shot. It was just too much, honestly.
Yeah, that's my take as well. So we'll say happy camping to Siena Heights. You guys put on an absolute show this year. We have sincerely enjoyed watching your program among several other programs this year. Kind of turn on the jets and show people what's up. So big shout out to you guys for the season you had and keep your heads high. You guys got a big season to put together next year, and we'll look forward to watching it to kind of cap off our WHAC tournament conversation there. And now we turn our sights to the national tournament. Get us started, John.
I guess I'll just start out by reading off the bracket. Would probably be the best way to start. So first matchup on the top of the bracket, we have number 1 Indiana Tech. There was really no question that they would be number 1 going into this one versus number 8 Benedictine, the KCAC champs. So that's a pretty interesting matchup, I would say. Next one, we have number 4 Cumberland's versus number 5 Tennessee Wesleyan. A rematch of the AAC semifinal. Then we have number 3 Ambrose versus number 6 Aquinas, which was a very good game earlier in the season. And then the final one, number 2 Reinhardt versus number 7 Kaiser, another rematch of the AAC semifinals. And if you're catching the theme here, the theme is we've seen it all before. And I mean, I don't know. We ran a poll, which we can cover later, but people are not thrilled about it. And I don't
blame them, man. Well, just spit it out. We don't blame them.
We don't like it, guys. I'm sorry to the voters and stuff, but we don't like it.
Yeah, unfortunately, not a fan of the bracket. And you can hate us for saying it. You can feel differently. That's what opinions are meant for. But in our opinion, this bracket is a little bit disappointing.
Can
And
we get a redo?
yeah, can we just let's go with some some bingo balls, and we'll pull out some numbers and just kind of see what happens.
Yeah, let me
Because
just move around Benedictine and one of the AAC teams, maybe throw Aquinas somewhere else and we'll figure it out. But
yeah, this one's a little tough. Hey, but it's in Pensacola, Florida, so it's gonna be nice. Like that's cool. The tournament in Pensacola, Florida, I don't have any issue with that, obviously.
yeah, no
But
doubt.
this bracket is a little bit tough. For Tennessee Wesleyan and Cumberland's to match back up for their first game. Yeah, you have to expect that's going to be a massive grudge match game, but that's kind of a tough start there, being two conference teams playing each other. AAC teams, Kaiser and Reinhardt, obviously are far too familiar. Having them match up to start, that's a little bit strange. you know Aquinas and Ambrose are familiar, but I think that's a good matchup. And then Benny and Tech, that's a good matchup. But if we could have just mixed things up, I guess a little bit more. Obviously, we know why they didn't get mixed up because of seeding, but for the entertainment value of the tournament, we would have liked to see it a little bit differently. That's the easiest way to say it right there. And we've seen from the poll already that you guys feel pretty similarly. So we know we're not on our own on this one. Either way, though, we have some NAI National Tournament lacrosse coming up pretty quickly here. It gets started Wednesday, May 11th. It's a full day of lacrosse, May 11th, we should say, in Pensacola, Florida. 10 a.m. Central Time, Benedictine, Indiana Tech. 1 p.m. Central Time, Tennessee Wesleyan, Cumberland's. 4 p.m. Central Time, Aquinas, St. Ambrose, and the nightcap, the big game people want to watch that day, 7 p.m. Central Time, Kaiser and Reinhardt. So from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. start-wise, there's a lot of lacrosse to watch in Pensacola, Florida. So if you live in Florida, you listen to the podcast, and you're listening to us blab right now, go to the national tournament for us. We wish we could be there with you guys, but we're going to be happily watching through streams and keeping updated in the nice little NAI Twitter world, we should say.
Yeah, definitely. And now, Tucker, I'm gonna make some tough picks. We don't necessarily. Okay, do you want to go through each game in order, I should ask, or do you just want to pick a national champion like winner and a couple other things?
Let's go through each one in order. We're gonna.
All right.
Okay, started out Benedictine, Indiana Tech. Who do you have? Why do you have them? Who do you love?
So I have Indiana Tech, but what I will say is I think this is if Indiana Tech doesn't make the championship, which right now I'll go ahead and tell you, I have Indiana Tech penciled in for the championship game at least. I think this is one that'll be the toughest matchup they have. And that may catch some people off guard. It's just the way Benedictine's playing, and Indiana Tech's kind of beaten them somewhat badly the past two times they've met. So if Benedictine can kind of catch them off guard and the offense stays hot, I think they have a chance. But give me Indiana Tech.
All right, I'll pick the upset in this one. I'll pick Benedictine. I've seen a very good brand of Benedictine lacrosse as of recent that I think would make for a great upset situation. Would love to see Benny come away with the win, obviously being a little bit KCAC bias, I'll be honest with you. But I agree with you totally. I think this will be a battle for Indiana Tech and a very, very, very important game for them. Very important game, obviously, for both teams. But I think this is going to be a great way to get this day started. Hopefully a little bit less heat and humidity at 10 a.m. The turf won't be 100 degrees. So a great way to kind of start the day there in Pensacola. So I'll take Benny, you'll take Tech. All right, now on to kind of the second big game of the day there. Obviously, all four games, guys, in the national tournament are very important, awesome, big games. But this one is a rematch of a great AAC matchup. 1 p.m. Central Time, Pensacola, Florida, Tennessee Wesleyan and Cumberland's matchup. Again, big AAC matchup. John, what are you thinking with this game? Who do you got? Why do you got them? And who do you love them?
This is a very interesting one because I feel like the two times they met, we saw something completely different. The first one, we saw Tennessee Wesleyan take it to overtime and win. And the second one, the more recent one in the conference tournament, we saw Cumberland's get out to an early lead and kind of pull away. So it comes down to kind of which one do we think is more accurate? And I think it's probably going to be somewhere in between, kind of a back and forth game. Give me Tennessee Wesleyan.
You know what?
I'm gonna stay on the dogs bandwagon.
I'm willing to do it as well. I will stay on the dogs bandwagon, the T-Dub bandwagon. I also think that, man, they are just excited to be in this tournament, and they are willing to prove that they need to be there, and they want to be there, and they deserve to be there. So because of that, I'm picking T-Dub, but I'm the same way as you. I think this one is going to be as close as possible. Don't be shocked if Cumberland's blows it open and wins the game. Don't be shocked if T-Dub blows it open and wins the game. I'm just saying right now, you have to expect a close game with teams that have played each other in conference opponents and somewhat of rivals as well. We have to say it. So expect a very good game there, you AAC fans. If you're tuning in to one of two games on your Wednesday afternoon, this one is one you're going to want to have pulled up while you're at work. Get ready, get the second monitor at the office ready, pull it up. We've seen you guys do it before. Watch this game. Live tweet your reactions, especially for this one, I would say. But a great game that we're going to see there between T-Dub and Cumberland's, which takes us down to the non-AAC matchups, we should say. 4 p.m. Pensacola, Florida, Central Time, Aquinas and St. Ambrose, the KCAC and WHAC matchup here. These teams have played each other before. What was the score? If you recall the score of that game?
I want to say it was pretty high scoring, and Ambrose won it. I don't know what the score is off the top of my head. I want to say it was like 15-13, maybe something like that.
Yeah, it was a really close game. Very, very close game, we should say, even more so. This is going to be a very, very, very meaningful game for both of these programs as well, I would say. If Ambrose can win and move on, that's huge for the program. If Aquinas can win and move on, that's big for the program as well. I'll take the first pick on this one. Again, I'm staying with my KCAC bandwagon here, but I also feel good about this one. I'm taking St. Ambrose. I'm taking St. Ambrose in this, regardless of them losing the KCAC championship game. I feel that this is a good bounce back for them, and I really feel good about this matchup. I think this is going to be a very exciting matchup for two teams that have only met once this season as well. And two very good programs with a lot of young talent.
Yeah, and just to correct myself, I just pulled it up. It was 16-13 St. Ambrose won, and that was in late March. Moving on to my pick, I'm going to take Aquinas. I got to be honest, I'm a little bit off of the St. Ambrose bandwagon right now. Just in particular, the defense hasn't looked as good the past couple games. I'm not sure what's going on there. Maybe they bounced right back, but just going back to the Columbia game, it was 17-13, and that's something I wouldn't have expected going in. And then obviously the loss to Benedictine 10-8 makes me kind of wonder, did maybe they peak a little bit too soon in the season?
Good point. Good point. Those are some very hot takes, some very good takes as well. So, guys, circle that as one to watch. Obviously, with two different conferences competing in that one, there's some extra special importance as well. I am kind of digging the WHAC and KCAC matches with Benny and Indiana Tech and Aquinas and Ambrose. Those are kind of cool matchups right there. On to the last one, the nightcap game, 7 p.m. Central Time, Pensacola, Florida. Kaiser and Reinhardt meet again. How many times is this? 3?
This is the third, just like Tennessee Wesleyan and Cumberland. So
this is the third, and each team has won once against the other team.
Yeah.
So this is like, man, this is like neck and neck. I'm sure the Reinhardt fans are feeling a little bit nervous on this one. Like, this is a little bit unique for a first round matchup for Reinhardt in a national tournament. What do you think? Does Reinhardt get knocked out first round, which would be crazy? Does Kaiser move on, or does Reinhardt take this one no problem and they're cruising?
I think we have a problem. I'm gonna be honest with you on this one. I'm gonna take Reinhardt, but I think it's gonna be just like the first two meetings. Give me Reinhardt maybe 10-7. I think it's gonna be a low scoring one. And here is my thing. So this isn't the same Reinhardt we've seen in the past couple of years, but they're still pretty dang good, especially when they have a clear face-off advantage, when they do against 99% of the NAIA. This is that 1% where they're going to go 11-11 on face-offs. Like, it's going to be neck and neck the whole game, and that's going to cause some issues. I'll take Reinhardt in a close one, and I'll tell you, if Reinhardt moves on from this one, I think they win the national title. I'm gonna be honest. Like I think Indiana Tech's gonna have a large part to say in that, but I'm more worried about this game than the rest of them for Reinhardt.
That's a good take. That's a good take, and that's also kind of an equivalent take to how we feel about the Indiana Tech first round game as well. So that's on both sides of the in the market here. We kind of see both of those there. I'm with you. I feel about as in between on this game as I possibly could with any of these games. Because we know how neck and neck, and with both teams winning once against each other in the regular season or in the tournament as well, the conference tournament, each team has a win against each other. Again, it's really, really, really tough for me to pick on this one. I'm going to pick Kaiser. I'm going to pick Kaiser with the way things have been going recently. I know Kaiser wants to win this game more than anything in the world. I can tell you that right now. I can read between the lines and see that for sure. I'm picking Kaiser. Again, as I've kind of prefaced prior, I feel very in between on this game. So don't shame me for my pick, y'all, but I'm picking Kaiser right now on this one.
I respect that. That's a good pick. And moving on before we make our kind of go over the polls, I wanted to ask you. So we're each gonna pick a national champion winner, the runner up, and then kind of our dark horse, if you're willing.
All right, I'll get it started. I am going to pick all over the place on this one. I'm going to pick all over the place on this one. I have Kaiser, national tournament winner. I have T-Dub, runner up.
Wow.
And I
It's gonna be a
have
crazy one.
dark horse on this. I think the dark horse in the tournament is Benedictine. Like
I like it.
I feel pretty good about my dark horse pick, man. I feel extra good about that one.
I like that dark horse pick. That's a good one.
I made those picks for fun to be like crazy picks, and I love it. And I feel good about it.
Okay, so winner, I'm taking Reinhardt. I know I'm gonna get some hate for that one, but it is what it is. I stand by the experience. Runner up, I think it's gonna be a rematch. I see Reinhardt taking down Indiana Tech again. And then my dark horse is Kaiser, because I think if Kaiser beats Reinhardt, I also think that Kaiser wins the national title. Just because I think I know the Indiana Tech people are going to get mad at me because I've been saying this all year and it hasn't come true yet that the face-off is going to bite them in the butt. But I think if they were to play someone like one of the top two face-off guys, I think that's when it would finally flare up.
Agreed. Very well agreed. All right. We made our picks. We set in stone now. Now we go to our polls. Let's take a look. A lot of votes really quick. And that's the thing. So we're really appreciative, guys, especially we should say of the amount of votes you guys put in early on.
Yeah, I threw that up with like an hour before the podcast. I completely forgot. So thanks for the participation, guys.
You guys blew it up. You blew it up, which we like to see right there. So let's take a look. Let's take a quick gander at what we have here poll wise. Let's just start out with the first one, the most blatant one. 157 votes. How do you feel about the bracket? 62%, just like we feel, not a fan of it. 38% says it's good. So majority on this one is kind of where we're sitting, where we're not a big fan of the bracket. Yes. The second bracket, John, what do you want to do? The second one, the Reinhardt bracket there, or the Reinhardt?
Yeah. Does Reinhardt survive a third game versus Kaiser? 148 votes. And this was a pretty close one, 60-40, 60% saying yes. And me and Tucker split on that one, obviously, as well.
This is a much closer one there. Does Ambrose beat Aquinas again? 58% say yes. That's actually a little bit higher than I would have thought. 166 voters in that one. I knew that this would be a close poll, but majority right now are saying that yes, Ambrose beats Aquinas again.
Yeah, I'm not too shocked it went that way. I just think that I don't know. It's very hard to read where these two teams will stand going into this one because they've both been kind of up and down as of late, but they both had really good seasons overall.
Agreed. And then you got the last poll there.
Which team on the Indiana Tech side of the bracket would give them the toughest game? The choices were Benedictine, T-Dub, or UC. 59% said Cumberlands, 29% Benedictine, 12% T-Dub. What do you think about that one?
I mean, I think those percentages are kind of about where I felt. Obviously, my picks are going to reflect differently from the national tournament bracket. Kind of what I made will reflect differently. I think the Benedictine percentage is pretty good there. I would have expected kind of T-Dub and UC to be a little bit closer together on percentages there. But I don't think that this poll is off by any means in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I think like if you had to ask me who's the most talented team outside of Indiana Tech on that portion of the bracket, I'm absolutely hands down saying Cumberland's. But just from a matchup perspective, for whatever reason, the past couple years, they haven't played them as close as I thought they would.
True. No, I agree 100% there. Yeah, we're looking forward to a lot of really good lacrosse. I mean, that's the biggest thing to talk about, guys, is we're looking at a great national tournament picture here. It's going to be a lot of exciting lacrosse in Florida. You can't beat that, especially for the the Ambrose and the WHAC guys and the Benny guys and getting some really good weather, which will be a change for sure.
That's another quick topic I want to discuss. Like, how do you think that impacts a team that maybe is not so traditionally used to playing in 70, 80, maybe 90s? I haven't really looked at the forecast, but I mean, with Florida, you never know.
Yeah, I mean, I think it can have big ramifications. For example, I mean, I think of like Ambrose and Benny here in a KCAC. We've had very little good weather this entire season. Like, yeah, it's traditional for us to start in the snow and then get really good weather the second half of the season. We really haven't had that happen a whole lot. It's been kind of bad so far. So for that, and then I even think of the WHAC. They've been battling weather a lot this year as well. So that will be interesting. I know for a fact that really high index humidity can make a big difference in how players can perform. If you're going from very dry climates or very cold climates to immediate to high humidity, 90-degree weather on a hot turf field, that can make a pretty big impact right away. I don't know how soon these teams are getting here. I assume some of these teams will already be done with graduation by the time they get there. Some of them will probably miss graduation. It's kind of a mixed bag there. I would hope these teams are getting there at least a day early because you got to adjust to that climate. You got to get at least one practice in that climate to really feel good about it. But then once you adjust the nice heat and humidity, boy, it feels nice.
Alrighty, guys. We will see you in time for the national tournament.
See you guys.